going on, my YouTube family? It's your boy, the Felonious Chef. I am your host, Mark Anthony, and welcome back. I just want to tell you guys, thank you so much for coming in and tuning in to the videos and listening to what I have to say because it really weighs heavy on me, this subject and these things that I'm talking about. And so I figured this would be a good format for me to be able to really just get it off my chest and really just maybe get a little feedback from the world, the community, to see how you guys feel about these same kind of things. So, as you could probably tell from the title of the video, I'm going to talk about COVID and pandemics. Okay, so it has affected America significantly. Okay, some of the effects, and when I talk about these effects, I'm not really going to talk about health issues. I'm going to really talk about society issues and the effects that COVID has had on our society. Okay, effects of COVID. Let's just think about it together. People aren't able to go to work. They're unable to feed their kids. They can't really go outside, you know, because of it. They're unable to see their family. And COVID in general has really made people afraid of other people. You know, one way to protect ourselves from it is by wearing a mask. We all know this. You wear a mask, you get it on over your nose, cover your mouth, and you go outside. Keep it some sandy in your pocket. Put it on down, slap it on in. You know, that keeps us safe, they say. You know? And so we believe in it. Hopefully we better nip this thing in the bud and, be able to focus on what I consider like a pandemic that's really affecting us and has been affecting us for such a long time of period, a long period of time. Sorry. And oddly enough, is like the effects of COVID sound really familiar to some of the effects of this other pandemic that I'm speaking on, which is mass incarceration in the United States. Now I know people are gonna be like, dude, how you gonna put sickness in the same box as crimes? And I know it sounds really weird. You're like, oh, this is a true pandemic. People dying, people getting sick. Crimes are stuff that people did and they get what they get, you know. But one of the things that you could really tie into both of these are choices. When COVID first hit us, it was told us for us to shut down, lock yourselves up. People was going crazy. You couldn't find Lysol, alcohol. Like people was just out there buying. They was shopping. They was acting like this is the end of the world. It was remind me of, the whole 2000. Everything was gonna go blank. People was hoping that, their deaths disappeared. It was one of those things all over again. And that's what happened when COVID popped. When COVID popped, people was out there buying all the Lysol, all the bleach. It wasn't no soap. It wasn't no toilet tissue. People was almost doggone having to grab some leaves to wipe their butt. You know what I mean? It was a serious thing. And you might think I'm joking about it, but it was a real serious thing. People were scared. We didn't know what was really going to happen, what was going on. But you know what? If you had listened, or people had listened to the first initial thing about it all, which was don't go outside. Stay at home. Stay at home, you stay safe. People didn't listen to that. People still ain't listening to this. Stay at home, stay safe. It was choices that was made among those individuals that went outside. And I know people say, well, I had to go to work. I had to get groceries. My baby was sick. We had to go to the doctor. I needed gas for the car. I had to cut my grass still. It was March when it first dropped. Definitely springtime, I remember. We had to go outside. We had to get some in the restaurants and bars and clubs. And, I go to this spot every Tuesday. I know I'm good inside of here, But those were concise and decisive choices that people made on themselves. And with those choices, anything is possible. Same thing with the crimes and the mass incarceration. Those people made choices as well. The moment, and people say, well, I had to go to work. I had to be able to feed my kids. And I get that. You got to feed your kids. And you got to go to work. You might think so. But the moment that the pandemic dropped, the moment that COVID dropped, the government made unemployment available. And people might have been like, "Oh, I'm gonna get on unemployment." You tried to call that line. It was 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But what I'm saying is, it was available to you because that's the same cold-hearted thought process people tell the other people that are involved in the pandemic that, oh, you made those choices. So I'm sorry that people got sick and sorry that people that died, but they made choices to go outside. You could get your groceries delivered. They even got apps, for doctors you could talk to. They can get you some medicine and you can get that shipped out to you. Um, the only people that I think that probably should have been outside and that needed to go outside was our first responders, doctors, nurses, the ones in the medical field that were trying to take care of the ones that did go outside that shouldn't have went outside, and also the ones that understand how to protect themselves. So I think outside of being a doctor or nurse or a first responder, your behind should have really stayed in the house. And if you didn't, because of whatever reason, you made the choice to still go outside. Even though we live in 2020, you can get anything shipped to your door. You can go to Amazon and get anything shipped to your house. There's really no excuse. Even if you say, "Oh, I don't have a bank, I don't have a credit card." Okay, let's say you make that one chance. You wrap up, strap up, put your mask on, go to Walgreens, go buy your prepaid card. Now you have a card you can add money to and go get your stuff off Amazon. One store, back at the house. Choices, okay, choices. And on the other side of the fence, very similar choices was made as well. It was all about the choices that people committed in life. And we really can't say why they committed them because some of these choices are made out of desperation. Some of these choices are really forced upon other people, and some people really don't have no choice in the matter at all, and just things happen to them. You know, um, you're hungry. Do you ask somebody for some change or do you make a choice to commit a theft? You need some money, gotta pay a bill, gotta figure something out. Do you hit the phone up like, "Hey ma," or "Hey pa," or "Hey cuzzo," or whoever, or do you make a choice of a robbery or selling drugs or whatever decision that you made? You know, it really all boils down to choices. Now, I'm not trying to downplay the seriousness of this COVID pandemic. I'm just really trying to shed a little light on another pandemic that I really feel sincere about and that I kind of want to, express a concern about. Now, this other pandemic is just as serious and just as dangerous to our economy, to our society, and to our world that we actually kind of know it as being. The U.S. population is 330 million people. Think about that. Out of that 330 million people, roughly 25 million people have a felony conviction. And out of that number, 30% of that is out of work black men. Now, out of it all is about 40% of out of work men. So about another 14% of that out of work men are different races. But 30% make up from African Americans. Okay, now also on top of that, 110 million have already received an arrest. They have an arrest record. That's almost half. We start off with 330. We got 110 that have an arrest record. That's almost half. That's almost half of our population have had to deal with the police in some sense or form or fashion to the point where they were arrested. So that means we have a nation and half of the nation has been arrested. And that sounds normal to who? I really don't get it. But even out of that 110 million, like I said, 44% of them were out of work. And now, before you say, oh, those are probably, drugs, okay. So out of the 25 million that have a felony record, 4 out of 5 of those arrests were for non-drug related issues. So that means either if you question 5 people, one of those people out of those 5 is going to be like the average, crack pipe, baggy, whatever, drug, purely drug. So out of those other 4 is going to be something totally different. Now it could be drug related, but if they have like a gun with them with some drugs, that's a different charge. Or if they have X amount of drugs, then it becomes like a whole different charge. So it could be a drug related, but it's not really what they consider like a drug offense. It's a compounded offense that has to deal with drugs as well. So don't say all those are, those 25 million, felons are drug related. They're not. They're for other offenses, which means it's something we need to really look into. And out of the 120 million that they included for being arrests, just pure arrests. So out of the 110 to 120 million citizens that have already been arrested by the police, none of those included traffic. So those are purely something different as well. So it's not like you can say like, oh, maybe it was, you got arrested for having a suspended license, because I've been there before, even though my license was not suspended, but I still ended up having to pay $500 to get my car out, 2 days of missed work, and $170 for a tow fee for it all to be thrown out of court saying that I was never suspended. So I got pulled over for no reason, but got arrested. So out of those 120 million is not for traffic. It's for other issues as well. It's all public record. You can check it out. But after reading these things, I started to really think like, why has half of our nation been arrested? And it really just came down to me to like one real simple tactic that's been used repeated and repeated over our society, and that's really just segregation. And when I use the term segregation, I'm not really talking about pre Jim Crow laws. I'm not talking about black and white lines and that kind of segregation. I'm speaking of a monetary, invisible, but very clearly seen segregated line between the society. And it really just all boils down to money. The only reason why mass incarceration is such a big thing and something that's really happening, it really all boils down to money. Mass incarceration keeps billionaires rich, and it keeps the poor. And if you don't want to believe me, all you got to really do is look up ALEC, which is ALEC. It's a group, it's a corporation, it's a the good old boys club that has all the major corporations and some privatized facilities that make up laws, that make up the rules, that make up the world that we live in, but don't live in the world that we live in. This pandemic of mass incarceration was allowed to come in and to play for a monetary gain, just like the pandemic of the COVID. Our president called the COVID Kung Flu, trying to make a funny joke over the fact that it came from Asia, China, called it the Kung Flu. But in all reality, in all seriousness, if it started there and it came from there, if you look at their numbers, they have less than 5,000 deaths. Whereas our numbers of deaths are 300,000. This great businessman sees an opportunity because he's already running the country like a business. That's what we put him in there for, run the country like a business. So as a businessman, he sees an opportunity to make money. And what's wrong with that? That's what he does. He's a businessman. He sees an opportunity to make money. He allows this thing to come in. And because in his mind, he probably feels Oh, we can make a vaccine. I'll invest in a vaccine, make a dollar, make a profit, and also be, known for the guy that saved America once again. And the same thing with mass incarceration. Um, we allow mass incarceration to be a thing for monetary gain. 10% of all the prisons and all the jails are privatized, which means companies own them. And with just that 10%, they bring in yearly about $7.4 billion. So $7.4 billion is made in keeping people locked up. Now, again, let me remind you, these are the same people that are part of ALEC, that are a part of making laws for us, that are concerned and deal with incarceration. So let me ask you a question. If you owned a business, if you owned a jail, let's put it real frankly, if you owned a jail, would you want your jail to be empty, or would you want it to be full of people? That means you need to put some people in there so that you can live your life. You understand what I'm getting at? Mass incarceration is a pandemic in this world, not because people make bad choices. Yes, people do make bad choices. That's how they get caught into it. But it's put into this world for monetary gain, for money. That's it, that's all. Let's keep the rich rich, let's keep the poor poor. This is something that we need to talk about and that we need to fix. Figure out a way to fix, or figure out a way to make it more balanced. All right, well, that's all the time that I have. I'm going to get out of here. I want to thank you for staying this long. Always remember to hit the subscribe button and the like. Leave some comments down below. Stay tuned for next week. We have another video coming out every weekly. And always remember that a nation divided won't make it, but together we can.